the Supreme Court has a high probability of changing their stance on gay marriage. Now, the reason this is happening is the same reason that the abortion situation had to get taken back to the states. This is not something that the federal government has the ability to make a ruling on. This is a state issue individually. Now, irregardless of how you feel about gay marriage, we have to understand why our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and the structure of our government is important. Because if we just start doing things that don't actually follow the rule of law, then the door is open for infinite chaos. Anybody can do anything they want. They can make changes and just destroy what is. Now, I know a lot of people will be thinking, well, the precedent has already been thrown out the door, and we've already essentially stepped into this new realm of politics where anything goes, and they are going back and changing laws so they can retroactively charge people for things that weren't illegal or trying to make things look like they're bigger crimes. And so while I do agree, precedent has already gone out the window, the Supreme Court is trying to fix this. I know it's a polarizing issue. A lot of people think that gay rights are the most important thing right now. But the fact is, human rights in general are the most important. And while I have my own problems with the term gay marriage, because marriage is a religious ceremony, they should be able to have a civil union if they want, and if they want tax benefits, no problem with that. I personally don't advocate for the life, and I have reasons that we could argue it's not necessarily the best outcome for people. I still am not one to try to put my authority over others. That's why the Supreme Court has to make this change. We cannot have them make a unilateral decision about something that is a state issue. This is not something the federal government is supposed to have in their power. It's not in their wheelhouse. It has nothing to do with geopolitics. We're not talking about anything that the federal government should be negotiating about or trying to affect or change. And the fact is, the reason that we have states and the reason that our states also have counties and everything is divided up the way it is so that way people can live with those that have a similar idea as them. You're not supposed to just be around a bunch of people that hate everything that you believe in. This is why community is important. And the left loves to use the idea of community and the idea of people being done wrong and this vindictive righteousness to manipulate people into doing things that are against the best interest of a truly free and prosperous people. And in the words of Albert Einstein, those that will trade freedom for security will get neither. The most secure way to keep us happy and peaceful is to give everybody maximum freedom and to allow local areas to vote and enact change based on what they believe in. If they are making unilateral decisions, we are stepping dangerously close into some sort of a monarchy or some kind of a totalitarian situation. And it doesn't matter if we go too far on the left or the right. If anybody has the ability to make unilateral change, that is the worst thing for everybody. The old saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. We cannot have anybody, not the Supreme Court, not the president, not Congress. We have to have the checks and the balances. It's the most genius part of our government. And it was also set up so that way people could make essentially audibles for all you sports fanatics. If we want to be able to change the play because we realize based on new data that this does or does not make sense, our founding fathers wanted us to do that. That was actually an American patriotic duty. It was part of keeping corruption at bay. Because the whole idea is that we cannot allow anybody to have that kind of power over us, this unilateral control, this strong hand that is able to take and do whatever they want because other people are not able to fight back. This is why freedom of speech is important. This is why being able to disagree is important. This is why our right to protect ourselves, our right to not have to let the police just come and stay in our houses. Like, we have fundamental freedoms, and these are things that are important. And if we start giving the ability to just unilaterally make decisions, then somebody could just unilaterally decide that any of those things go away. And they are trying to do that. Oh, I disagree with you. You kind of made me offended. I think that's hate speech. The ADL wants to push that all over the place, which is insane because the whole reason that the right started to take power was to fight this corruption against speech, to fight this corruption against censorship. And all we are doing is giving them opportunities to do that. It's the slippery slope. Oh, you have the ability to make a unilateral decision about abortion or gay marriage? Well, in that same line of thought then, you have the ability to make a decision about anything. Now, I know that to have true freedom, it takes the responsibility of people going out and being informed about things going on. And I know that it's not easy to be informed, which is why people like me exist. Why you have political commentators who spend every waking second following the news, staying up on what's happening on X nowadays, or whatever the medium is at the time. It's people like us who have to keep the pulse active to everybody who has their attention split and fragmented, because our society thrives on specialization. And that's also why you cannot have anybody make a unilateral decision. A society that thrives on specialization means that it's a singular focus. It requires multiple people. It's a machine. It's different parts of a machine. And in order for these things to operate effectively and efficiently, people have to be able to play their role. So while there's a high chance that the Supreme Court is going to change the ruling on gay marriage, it's not that they're going to make it illegal. All they're trying to do is bring it back to the states, so that way we can vote based on what our local areas believe. So that way it can be represented of who is there. Not everybody should have to live the same way. People that are out in the country have a different need for firearms than people in the city. So if people in the city all vote that they want to, make guns harder to get or whatever, I disagree with it. But if they all agree with that, or the majority can get that through, fine. But somebody out in the middle of the mountains that has to worry about animals and actual threats should not have to abide by the same ideas as people trapped with millions of small buildings and tens of millions of people all together. That's a whole different scenario. And that's why we need to bring this all back to the states. And people need to take the time to be responsible for what we are voting in, and understand that if you don't want a park to be put through somebody's farm, it's up to you to try to stop it. If you don't want somebody to lose their mineral rights, it's up to us to argue about why. We have to affect the change. This is for the people, by the people. We are not being told what to do. We are the ones that are supposed to be telling. So make your voice heard peacefully. Go ahead and be upset about it if you're upset about it. If you're conservative and you're happy that they might be doing this, that's fine too. But at the end of the day, this has nothing to do with making it illegal. This is everything to do with bringing the states back to their proper positions. All right, that's all for today. Episode 2 of Backyard Politics. And yeah, new format, just trying it out. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.